last session. So I have been given chance to do this moderation in this session. Okay, so the fireside chart means we have to really discuss about the role of women, technology, data, and development. Since we are sitting in the premise of VHub, and VHub is all about women, innovation, and technology from grassroots upward, and all those innovators are also around you. So after this chit chat, you can also go and meet them. I will start with somebody who is not an Indian, but she claims that she is Indian, and she has she was the first Kofi Annan center in Accra, which was co-funded by Indian government, and she has been in India so many times that wherever I meet, she said that you don't know anything about India. I am telling you this language works this way, this works this way. You know, this is how much change you should keep it always in the pocket. This is what you need to eat. This is what you need to cook. This is what you need to make people happy with. So it's no, not at all. So Dorothy Gordon, who is here, and she is also our regular, fraternity member of WSA. She has worked in India with UNDP many years in Delhi, right? When you were there in Delhi. So she has a very big, good background. So I would start with you quickly for 3-4 minutes. Tell us that how have you seen India progressing in the last couple of decades? And the digital inclusion part, exclusion part, and also what do you see as a role of women in this entire ecosystem? Because you have really observed as an outsider and also an insider, and you have always been involved at a very high level.
Uh, Good evening, everyone. Namaskar. And when you have brothers, they can be very troublesome. So ignore everything my brother Osama has said. A lot of it was not exactly true. But what is true is definitely I consider myself more than a friend of India. They have to have a different category, not quite NRI, but close. I have enjoyed getting to know India over the past quarter of a century. And the first time I came to Hyderabad, your chief minister was Sri Chandrababu Naidu, and I went to visit Cyberbad. And now look at Hyderabad today. And you remember that in the early 2000s, he lost the election because of his focus on digital. And look how far India has come today because of digital. And what was the problem? Why did he lose that election? It was very interesting for me. He lost it because people felt it would not impact on rural people's lives, and that there were so many problems at the level within the countryside. No need to focus on all this high-tech stuff. And today, India, you rule in terms of appropriate digital technologies, but let's face it, you are also controlling Silicon Valley. When they were making a fuss about DEI in the US, and after visiting the headquarters of most of these big tech companies, the DEI would mean that they should not allow white people there anymore because brown people are the majority when you visit that. So what does it mean? And I think I want to touch on the fact that India has been very generous. First of all, Indian tech, let's face it, at the beginning, I don't know how, this is really for the Indians in the audience, but if you remember that Padma, the supercomputer built by CDAC, was because America would not give you the supercomputer technology. So Indian scientists used open source technology to develop their own supercomputer. And then when I was heading up the India-Ghana Kofi Annan Center of Excellence in ICT, India gifted a Paramadma to Ghana so that our scientists could learn the supercomputing technology. And that is the characteristic of India that leads me to believe that we have a great hope for African and Asian collaboration. It is Indian soft power, that willingness to share knowledge, that really creates that respect for India across the world. And I think that, Osama, you asked, the question was too broad, but I can say that we are seeing today the benefits of a policy that has taken 25 years to mature. And for those of us coming from Africa, where some of our governments are not very serious about the quality of technical training that needs to happen, we have to wake up and start making those investments. This is a long-term investment that is now bearing fruit, and everybody now understands. And we see that potential to help every kind of person, not just urban elites. But women are still behind. And we know that a lot of that is coming from the family, not in India, I think. I think now every family would want their daughter to become a software engineer. Yes? No? Yes? But in Africa, it's not like that. In Europe, it's not like that. We see a very small, we don't see equality yet. But I've spoken more than 3 minutes, so I'll take the rest up later. Thanks. And Brother Osama, keep to the truth. Thanks.
Yeah. She said that it was not all that wrong that I said. She also said that. It's partially true. And she sounded CDAC that everybody know. How many people know CDAC? Please raise your hand. C also.
I even know all the directors. And if you want to see innovation, look at CDAC. India had a whole network, more than 100 research centers, which they have consolidated under CDAC today. And we have one solution from Ghana, Kaya AI, which is using artificial intelligence for language. And CDAC, how many Indian languages has CDAC worked on, Osama?
I mean, we have 22 official languages. I'm sure they may not have worked more than 22.
No, they have done more than 22.
So there must be some dying language or
yes.
endangered languages.
So if you don't know CDAC, go to their website, go and look for them.
Thanks, Dorothy, for highlighting and giving the next task to the visitors to do the homework, Google CDAC, and tomorrow when you come, you will get your lunch only when you know CDAC properly. So now I go to Sirisha Peyyeti. You first have to explain what is Avika, but please also let us know that, you know, as a woman, how being innovator is difficult, being an entrepreneur is difficult or easy, and also give us a hope that gender digital divide is something that finally India is trying to tackle and bring in more and more women into the digital ecosystem.
Sure, I'll try and see if I can answer all of that. I'll start with Avika. First of all, before I do anything, I'll have to thank WeHub for giving me this opportunity. I'm sitting here and representing the entire women entrepreneurs that WeHub nurtures. So genuinely thrilled for this opportunity. So Avika basically means ray of light. That's what it means. And what we intend to do is provide a technical platform that will help mental health practitioners deal with patients going through neurotic mental health conditions in a better manner. Again, it's basically empowering the professionals so that they get better at what they do. So we provide virtual reality-based experiences so that the patients or the clients can be exposed to whatever scenarios that kind of provoke anxiety in them. Pair that with a relaxing experience. India is a vast country which has got a lot of cultural nuances. We have healing music, soothing music. There's a lot of good stuff that's going on. So what we try to do is use technology truly as an enabler and gave the platform to the practitioners so that they can deal with their patients a lot better. So that's what we do. We're a fairly young company, about a year and a half. We have about 20 clinical installations so far. We've done about 10,000 VR sessions on our platform. We're now going the corporate side. We're also doing a physical center. So our ambition is to be there on the mental spectrum, right from wellness to serious illness, and kind of provide all sorts of technical interventions that are possible. So that's our goal. So to your question around what sort of a digital divide exists, does it exist still? Do women actually have it easy or difficult now? I guess the digital divide actually doesn't exist so much purely from a technology point of view or awareness point of view. I don't think there is anyone who doesn't know how to use tech these days, whether it's UPI that Dr. Jayesh Ranjan just mentioned, or it's anything that we see in terms of leveraging technology, and the latest example being GPT. I've known enough people who are school teachers who use GPT for creating curriculum as well. So that's, the tech isn't a problem anymore in that sense. It's truly democratized. Yes, there is a problem of more. Today's problem is not do I know how to use tech. It is more to do with, do I know which digital platform to use and what are the differences, what are the challenges. That's the sort of a problem that all of us are grappling with, but otherwise people are used to using digital technology. So in that sense, it's truly democratized. Are there challenges for women? Again, to your point, a lot of us want to be all the parents, and I'm a parent as well, and I would definitely want my child, whether it's a boy or a girl, to be in the STEM, right? I would definitely encourage that. My daughter is actually pursuing her medicine. My son hopes to become an engineer at some point in time. So yes, it's an aspirational thing today for a lot of Indians across the social strata to kind of provide good education for their kids, whether it is and gender discrimination to a large extent doesn't exist. We're still getting there, but that part of the problem essentially has been solved. Now what's happening is it's all with the women as we speak, right? So the opportunities are there. Like WeHub, for example, exclusively focuses on women and encourages women entrepreneurs. And we get to meet a varied variety of women entrepreneurs also. It's not about they're just tech and entrepreneurs, or they're just in the D2C space, or they're just doing something very, very innovative. So we get to see a mix of everything, rural, urban included. So there is a lot of opportunities that are there. But I guess as women, there is still that inhibition that we have, wherein we are saying, oh, is it worth it? Is there something else that I should be doing with my time? Am I just trying because this is just a alternative that I'm choosing? Or should I just be going and doing a corporate job and be done with in a 9-to-5 daily routine, right? So the inhibitions are there with women more so than the society per se. I think when we draw the line as women and we draw a circle and say, this is what my boundary is. Yes, I'm going to do what I think is appropriate. I'm going to be doing something good for the society. I'm going to use technology. I'm going to build something new. I'm going to try something crazy. That is when you draw your circle, you draw your boundary, and everybody kind of adjusts to it. There are enough opportunities these days. There are enough networking possibilities these days that don't kill your time. There is always options, there's always alternatives. So I would say we're still getting there. I think the inhibitions are both mostly with women than with the society.
Wonderful. You're giving a lot of hope that gender digital divide is not as challenging as it would have been a decade ago. And we are all catching up very, very fast. I just also wanted to insert statistics that while India claims that 1.1 billion people are connected, there is a statistics of meaningful connectivity or meaningful access is only available to 350 to 400 million people. That means that many people have been able to do transactions online. Out of that, 122 million people only from rural India, out of 900 million population in India. For the people who are from outside, we are talking about population and not the matchstick boxes pin. These are the numbers that the people who are live in rural India, 900 million, and only 122 million people have been counted to do online transaction. And even worse, 49% of all those people who did this transaction are 6% people. 49% of all transactions done by 6% people. So actually speaking, the connectivity of having a call and the connectivity to do transaction or video conferencing or talking to a doctor for consultation or paying online or buying online or sending your grievance redressal, we have a long way to go and we all have to work very hard. And that's the reason why initiative like VHub is so important. I usually say that technology is feminine. It should be targeted from the feministic perspective to make it more effective. And to come to that, I want to ask Amir, because also he is an economist, is that not having aggressive and front-end inclusion of women in digital development, isn't it economically challenging, or economically it would have been much more fruitful and better in terms of development? Have we made policy where we include women with the digital inclusion?
Yeah, thanks so much, and thanks, Dorothy, for bringing up this issue and talking to us about so much that you know on our country. Here is a sobering thought, and that is that we are sitting here discussing democracy and gender, and look at what is happening to our country. Over the last 8 years, we've been falling rapidly from being a democratic country to being a electoral autocracy. We are the fastest sliding democracy in the world. In fact, if you see the democratic index, the reason the world is less democratic today is largely because of India. So that's one sobering thought. On the gender issue, where are we on any gender index? Right? On the gender gap index, which indicates the gender inequality, we are 127 out of 144, and the other 17 are countries that I wouldn't like to name. So it's really very interesting, and it's timely, and it's so important, and therefore I can't thank Peter and all of you at WSA enough to bring this Congress to this part of the planet, which is where our democratic discovery and democratic journey is at its most fragile right now. And therefore, it is very important that you're here. You could very well have done this in Norway or Sweden or wherever and felt very happy. To come here and to address challenges as you see them every day is indeed a very brave thing to do. And thanks so much for that, because it allows us to introspect and to see where we are going wrong. India is a country that pleases Dorothy, gives everything that she says enough validation. But it also frustrates those of us who want to see India somewhere else. You are sitting in one part of the country where you are able to today talk about democracy and India's slide in democracy and India's problems with gender without somebody coming and raiding the premises and stopping you from doing this. Next door is a province in India where comedians get arrested because they are either cracking a joke or thinking of cracking a joke. That's the fragility where we are at. And on the yeah, thanks. And I'm really proud of speaking about this in this state of Telangana. And that's the thing, Dorothy, that if you come to a state like Telangana, you are in a upper middle income country. We are in Telangana better off than Ghana is. That's not true of the rest of the country. The rest of the country in UP and Bihar, and I don't want to say anything, but we are worse off than Nepal, right? So we are a land of amazing contrast. We are in a city that has a V-Hub, that has absolutely successful women entrepreneurs, that gives to the world the technologists and the technological capital that Dorothy talked about. But go 200 miles away and you will have a state where 70% of the population will have illiterate women who've never gone to school, whose life expectancy is 10 years lesser than their male counterparts because they never have access to a prenatal or antenatal care, who have never seen a cell phone. And that's why, Osama, if we want to, if India aims to leapfrog from a $2,000 per capita income to a $4,000 per capita income that Ghana has, or a 9,000 that Argentina does, we cannot do that without having 50% of our population riding along. How can you ever reach there? If half the population has no agency to earn money, if half the population has no agency to spend the money that it earns, then how are we going to get to a consumer base of 1200 million people? We will continue to have 150 million people who are digitally literate, who use fancy apps, who are there on every platform that you can think of, and 150 million is a lot of people. But what about 1200 million people? Unless you include those, and that's what I think is the grand design and the ambition behind the WSA's discussion on digital democracy and us. It is our responsibility here and your responsibility, the 200 of you, to ensure that there is enough incentive and enough pressure that is exercised on us. And I talk about us as being part of the state, part of the government of this state and this country, to ensure that we do not exclude those millions of people who are the bulwark and the foundation of a growing economy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I finally go to somebody who was 17-year-old when he traveled all over India backpacking. And after that, he couldn't think like a non-Indian. So Peter Bruck have been watching India for a very, very long time, have been working with WSA for 23 years pro bono, and have been contributing in creating a network of digital content creators, not the consumers, right? That's very, very important. And while the WSA is created as an activity and under the framework of United Nations, he also made sure that we always talk the walk and not walk the talk. You know, and always made sure that let's talk only about who are doing what. Let's select them, let's find out who are those people. And today on a coffee table, we were discussing that why did we choose the topic digital democracy and us as a topic of this year's Congress. And he has a very profound saying that the reason we chose this is that unless we choose to save democracy, we cannot save climate and globe for us on Earth. And that's very, very important. And I'm sure we all know we cannot save either of these two if we do not have women as the leader, right? So, and digital is unavoidable, but the point is how. So Peter, can you enlighten us that sitting in the hub of a V-Hub, in the middle of women creators, digital content creators, and the creators in general, we have this whole challenge. You have also created a network of such beautiful people from across the world. What do you think that the challenge that we can take and not only the accolades that we can clap on ourselves?
Thank you very much, Osama. I don't deserve much of what you pour and praise over me, because I want to go back to the person whom I not pronounce right. Ambedkar. And you know, what is interesting about him is that he analyzed social structure and economic structure the way we have to analyze patriarchy and the exclusion of women. And it's really interesting, if you look at all the statistics in terms of learning and progression and professionalized careers, if you go and you look at high schools in Europe, high schools in other continents, the women are performing much better than the men. If you go to university, the women perform much better than the men. And if you go into professional lives and you look at the lawyers, the accountants, the doctors, the caretakers, everybody, you can see the women perform better than the men. And then you come and you look at, all of a sudden, when it comes to the power and the power holders, the gender balance switches. And this is what I think is so interesting about the Indian Constitution. It stipulates equality, justice, and also the very much the respect for the individual citizen. And since the 1940s and 1950s, if you look at today, what you said, Amir, about the discrepancies in India, what Osama was saying about the difference between the rural and the city, between the green and the red markets, and so on. We need to see that the social structures need to be considered as something which we target, which we need to be aware of, and where we cannot just be skimming over. WSA is interesting because it is a journey of hope that people who use digital for applications are gonna make an impact. And that's the reason why we're looking at social impact measurement, we are looking at social entrepreneurship, we are looking at all these different kind of business models, financing models, which you can have for this. But we need to also, at the same time, when we are on the application layer, where a lot more women are involved, we have to look at also at the infrastructure layer. And therefore, what Amir, you said, what Dorothy is saying, what you said, we may not be naive about the power structures which lay the groundwork on which we are basically trying to swim and move around. And that is the reason why we need to take ownership of the political structures and the ownership of, for instance, the taxing possibility, the possibility to break up trusts, to break up monopolies, to make sure that nobody escapes that, and that nobody, however digital he or she claims to be, will be spared to face the proper equality in the market as well as among nations and among gender. I think this is what we want to look at in the next 3 days at WSA Global Congress. And thank you very much, Osama, and everybody else here in Telangana, to host us, to engage with us in a conversation. Lastly, the WSA team is 100% women. That's the reason why WSA is successful. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. I would like to take 1 minute to each one of you, and I have one question to all of you, same question to all of you. What do you see as the future of digital vis-a-vis development and democracy, right? Same question to all of you. What's your answer? And then we will have the United Nations speech. We will listen after that. Yeah, can we start with Dorothy in the same chain? 1 minute.
I think that we are at a pivotal moment when it comes to technology and development. There are many people around the globe who are using, for example, products by Meta without thinking about the fact that they have rolled back their trust and safety, and that this has huge implications for the minds of young people and how they are exposed. A lot of my work at the moment is focused on child online safety. And if we don't wake up and stop thinking that, yes, technology is neutral, it does not matter who owns it, it does not matter what kind of rules we put in place to manage it, then we are not going to have a too healthy digital future. It will continue to be very one-sided and in control by just a monopolistic, oligarchic type of control. Whereas WSA gives us a lot of hope because it's a celebration of local innovation ecosystems. And if we are going to have a strong development with digital at the heart of it, we need to develop those national innovation systems. We do not need to continue in the path of technology dependency. We have to have our autonomy. And so we need to wake up to technological imperialism and get back our freedom and use open source.
Thank you. Shreyashi.
Okay. So I would say this is only an opportunity for all of us to move forward, right? So there is, in history, we've never gone back. We probably looked back and understood the lessons and whatever, if we were intelligent enough, and we can only move forward. And I would agree with what Dorothy said. We should only move forward responsibly. I think as a generation, this is at that crux where one or too many wrong decisions that we take is going to make it a lot more worse for what is going to follow. So I guess for digital development, if there was one word that we have to pick up, I would go with responsibility. We should do it a lot more responsibly. It doesn't mean we'll have to hold back and not leverage all the tools that are at our disposal. We should embrace them, but absolutely in a very knowingly manner and extremely responsible manner. And hopefully there is no limit to what we can as a human race achieve. Thank you.
Thank you. Very nicely said. Amir?
You know, Sama, this is really the question, the big question that we need to answer. And here the good news is that if you look at India's development, India's growth in the recent past, the largest and the most significant growth we have seen is in its innovation index. So we've leapfrogged on the global innovation index and now are at some 39 from somewhere where we used to be at 100. But note that this innovation has been powered by the digital ecosystem. That is why digital is so important. First, that it spurs innovation. All these people you see out there are those innovators who have used the digital footprint and the digital infrastructure. Unfortunately, big corporate India, zero. You don't see any innovation coming in from the big technology. You see that coming here, and that's the future. The second point where digital and development matters is that it is the digital that universalizes education, access to healthcare, and access to jobs, which is what is holding the country back. The third is that one of the fundamental needs that we have as far as development is concerned is to reduce the inequality that exists in the country. It is the most unequal country in the world right now and becoming unequal faster than any other country. And the only way in which this inequality can be brought back, apart from taxation that Peter talked about, and I thought it was a very significant point, the other way is by universalizing knowledge, access to information. That information asymmetry that exists in a traditional caste-driven society like India can only be eliminated by increasing use of the digital. Thank you.
Peter, your sentence.
First, I have to correct myself because the WSA executive manager will get after me and say WSA team is not 100% women, it is 70% women. So I just want to make sure that I am factually correct and I'm not falling into the trap of storytelling like Osama, and then he's corrected by Dorothy Gordon and I will be corrected by other people. So 70%. There are three things, I think, which come to my mind. First of all is, let us all get to understand that we cannot just go on with technology and internet the way we have. Okay? There's a key term which is called reset. Let's think about what reset means. At the University of Toronto, there's a citizen lab, and they understand themselves as doing counterintelligence for civil society, taking charge of the internet. And I think it's a really interesting thing, you know, in which way one can network around the world. And the Digital Empowerment Foundation is much too soft on some of the technology issues, because we need to make sure that we understand that the technology itself needs to be, and that's the second part, we need to have a design from the margins. I want you to taste the term design from the margin, that you are using your capability and your ability to design technology not from the sucking center of central capitalism, but that you are looking at it from the margins of the needs of the population and the people and the communities in which you live. And the third thing is, India is today in a much, much better position than it was 20 years ago or 30 years ago, because you have started so much in terms of ownership of skills, of competencies, that you are now at the brink of really being actually not just exporting your top leaders to the Silicon Valley, but you might be importing them back. Bring them back. Make sure that they are the people, not they themselves, but the people here in Telangana state, in Hyderabad, in Bangalore, they know that you don't have to go to Silicon Valley to do a meaningful, good-paying job, but that you can do it here. And you do it here because you serve your people. And that is what India has as a prospect for the next 5 to 10 years.
Thank you very much. And since I have a last mic, I would also like to just say a future of digital from that I understand is that the future of technology and digital is going to be data. You are the data, right? How you are going yourself to be utilized is going to be the future, whether you are going to be controlled by technology or you control technology. It is exactly like your vote in democracy. If you want your vote to be used by somebody, or you want to exercise your franchise yourself and take control of yourself. So the future of technology is data, but the data is you. You have to figure it out, that whether you are in control of your own data or somebody else is in control of your data. Thank you very much. And we end this fireside chat here. Thank you very much, all of you. We were now going to show you a message with the help of myself and Peter. We requested the United Nations Office for Digital and Emerging Technologies, Mr. Amandeep Singh Gill, who has sent his message. He had promised to be here, but he couldn't make it. So we are showing his video message. And after that, you will have time to go through all the innovators here and listen to music, talk to each other, and eat well. Thank you.